it is tax season. I think right now we are in the peak of tax, of everyone filing their taxes. It really is going to be a busy season all the way until April 15, which is known as tax day. So again, you know, thank you for making time out of your busy schedule and coming on board and learning about all these different tax scams, how they work, what are some of the ways that you can do to avoid them, and obviously, share that information also with your loved ones, with friends, neighbors, help them, not become victims of the tax scams, which again, as I mentioned, right now, being the beginning of the year, all the way until April 15, it is very common for you to start seeing fishy stuff coming in to you in different types of communication. So let's um, let's dive into the agenda and before I go to the agenda, I think I also forgot to introduce my German Shepherd, Nico, who likes to make an appearance from time to time. So if you do hear him in the background, that's just him saying hello, and he missed everyone. You all haven't heard from him since December, as Kerry alluded to. So, but just a heads up, so just in case if you hear my German Shepherd barking in the background, that is Nico for you all. So really quick, let's take a look at the agenda for today. So again, what are tax scams? How do scammers impersonate the IRS? What can scammers do if you fall for a tax scam? 2024 scams to watch out for. This is very important. Also, what are some of the warning signs, prevention tips, reporting a tax scam, and resources that can help you. Again, a lot of great information that we're going to be covering this evening. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, if anyone has any questions, make sure that you submit them through the chat or the Q&A feature, and Eddie and Andrea will be reading those questions. And as always, it's our commitment that we answer every single question before we end the webinar. So let's go right into the meet and greet of this presentation. So IRS tax scam. So just so you'll know, you probably don't remember this because or you probably don't remember my style, I guess is what I'm trying to say, since I haven't done one presentation since December. But I always like to start with actual data and research that is conducted. And just so you know, in 2023 alone, the IRS reported 7.8 million of suspicious activity, resulting in I need to pause before I say this number, resulting in $5.7 billion in tax fraud. Again, let me repeat that number. 7.8 million reports of suspicious activity, resulting in over $5.7 billion in tax fraud. This is the information that we have received from the IRS. And again, that is a crazy, insane amount of money that people fell victims during the tax season and with tax scams. So it's a very alarming number. Um, and believe it or not only did they take all the money, but they also stole personal information. So a lot of people lost their identity. And again, as I mentioned, right now we are in the peak of the tax season all the way until April 15. And so you better believe that the scammers are out there right now. They are trying every single approach, trying to get to you and make you fall and become victim of a tax scam. So please be very careful. So tax scams are among the types of fraud that most frequently are reported to the Better Business Bureau, believe it or not. And one of the things that the scammers are doing, and one of the, in my opinion, as to why they are so successful, is because oftentimes they impersonate the IRS. They call, they text you, they visit you pretending to be agents from the IRS. So again, you have to be very, very careful. They use so many different tactics, such as phishing emails, phone calls, text messages. The list goes on and on and on. So again, you may ask yourself, what exactly are tax scams? So again, tax scams are fraudulent activities designed to deceive individuals or businesses during tax season, this time of year, often with the aim to obtain sensitive information, money, or you know what, both. Why not, right? And these scams can take various forms, and scammers employ all the tactics. They're always trying to be find new ways, trying to get more savvy, and see what they can do in order to make you fall and make you a victim of tax scams. So this is very scary. And as I mentioned at the beginning, if you look at the number, um, 7.8 million reports. That is a huge number of people, that have reported suspicious activities. And again, I'm sure that the number is high because there's probably some people that don't even report. So again, be very, 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 very careful. So really quick, as I mentioned, scammers, they have different tactics. They definitely try to be smart. And this, what you see right now, is just one of the many tactics that they're using, and finding ways on how they can go ahead and steal your information. So the most common one that I think everyone probably seen, is going to be the phishing emails, the fake websites, the phone calls, text messages, social media impersonation, fake notices, and as I mentioned before, the in-person impersonation. So these are pretty much what they are using. So we're gonna go and review this more and more in depth, and give you some of the some resources and tools and what to look for, and help you not become a victim of a tax scam. So you ask yourself, what will this scammer do once you fall for a victim? I mean, I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but let's review it. First thing is, they're out there to steal your sensitive information and use it for identity theft. They're gonna trick you into sending money, wire transfer, gift cards, cryptocurrency. I'm not sure if you all seen, if anyone here is investing in cryptocurrency, more specific, Bitcoin. It's to the roof, over $60,000. That's about an hour ago. I'm sorry, I just had to add that in there. File taxes under your name and pocket your tax refund. This is the one that we are starting to see more and more often. It is truly scary. And also pose as tax professionals and offer to get you a large rebate or tax returns. Again, just some of the tactics that they're using, and looking for ways to make you become fall for their approach, and make you a victim of a tax scam. So again, you have to be very, 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 very careful. I will say this. I want us to take a closer look at what are some of the most common ways that scammers are impersonating the IRS. But before we do that, it is important that the IRS will send you communication, which is legitimate. And let me tell you what are some of the things that the IRS will never do. And that is, the IRS will never contact you by email, text message, or social media. If you ever receive any communication pretending to be from the IRS in any of those forms, trust me, delete it, delete it, delete it. It is not from the IRS. Second, they will never demand immediate payments. Next, they will not require that you use a specific method of payment. Also, they will never demand that you share your personal information over the phone. That's a big no-no. They cannot do that. They cannot demand that you pay without the opportunity to appeal. And most important, threaten to get the police involved. Oh, I have heard this one so many times. Actually, I have received phone calls from the IRS, quote unquote, saying, hey, if you don't pay your taxes right now, I have the sheriff's office on the other line. And guess what? They're coming to your house and they're going to arrest you because you owe taxes and you need to pay that. Unless you make a payment with me over the phone, I can't stop them from coming to your house and taking you to jail. That, if you tell that to a person that might owe taxes to the IRS, that can easily insert fear and, again, make you fall for their tactics. So be very careful. So with that being said, let's dive into the details of some of the common ways the IRS um, impersonate they're trying to impersonate the IRS. So this right here, this is a great example of a phishing email. And phishing emails, as I mentioned, is, well, just phishing in general. It's one of the most sort of tactic, I guess, if you want to put it like that, from the criminals. They are, they're just trying to see who clicks on the links, who downloads any attachment that are coming through. But again, phishing is designed to steal your personal information. So scammers will send you an email pretending to be from the IRS, often with threatened or urgent subject lines demanding payment. And when you click on the link in a phishing scam, you will end up in a page that looks like the IRS. Again, this is important, that looks like the IRS, but it's a hoax. So your social security number, credit card numbers, or any personal information that you provide on that website will be collected by the criminal. So if you get one of these messages, look for, but do not open to any emails that pose as a trusted source, like a bank, tax provider, emails that use the official IRS logo or the whole section of text message from the IRS website, emails with urgent messages that might say it's something along the line of update your account now, or you're going to be blocked. Emails with instructions to click or open an attachment, emails using a fake form from the IRS. That is a big no-no. So if you receive an email claiming to be from the IRS or the Treasury or anything that is tax related, you better believe that that is somebody looking to do harm to yourself. So be very careful. So what do we recommend everyone to do? The first one is do not reply. If you reply to the phisher, they may send a follow-up email that's going to perhaps contain some malicious URL or any malicious attachments. Do not click, again, and I repeat, do not click or open any attachments. Again, that self-explanatory, but if you do so, you are setting yourself up for to become, a victim of malware that they can install on your computer, or just send you to as I mentioned, a fake website and steal your information. So please do not click on any of the links or download any attachments. Also, if you do see an email that is suspicious, what we advise and what we suggest is that you forward that email to the IRS. So the IRS has created a specific email where all the consumers can send any communication that is being sent to them from pretending to be from the IRS. And that email is phishing, PHISHING, at irs.gov. So if you receive an email that looks like this, using the IRS logo and pretending to be from the IRS, we advise that you forward that email to the IRS and let the IRS handle it from there. But please do not share any information or click or download any attachments. It's very important. Next, as I mentioned before, because I myself, I have been on the other side. I have received a call from someone claiming to be from the IRS, and they are urging me to make a payment because I owe taxes. And and if I don't make the payment, they have the sheriff's office or the police department on the other line, and they're going to send the police. So they are using every tactic as I mentioned. So do not follow their instructions. Phone tax scams come in many different types of ways. But as I mentioned, they are getting more and more tech savvy. So they can, believe it or not, they can spoof a caller ID. The caller ID that you receive might say the IRS, believe it or not. It could really say IRS or Internal Revenue Office. And that is something that the criminals are now doing more and more, and a lot of people are falling for that. So if you see a caller ID that says the IRS and you answer and it's somebody on the other line and they're looking to put pressure on you to make a payment over the phone right away, if not, you will be arrested. Trust me, it is not the IRS. So you don't want to provide any information to them over the phone, especially any of your personal information. That is a big no-no. The IRS will not ask you to verify your information over the phone, and force you to make a payment immediately. So again, that is just one of the many tactics that the criminals are out there and looking to do. So be very careful. We actually have an example of a call, and we want you to hear what it sounds like. So, Carrie, if you don't mind, go ahead and play the audio for us, please.
Yep.
We are calling you from investigation team of IRS. We have just received a notification regarding your tax filings from the headquarters, which will get expired in next 24 working hours. And once it get expired, after that you will be taken under custody by the local cops, as there are 4 serious allegations pressed on your name at this moment. We would request you to get back to us so that we can discuss about this case before taking any legal action against you. The number to reach us is 970-315-2981. I repeat, 970-315-2981. Thank you. We are.
And that is what a typical call, a scam call sounds like. So if anyone has heard that, obviously that's a message that voice message that is left for an individual if you don't answer the phone. But as if you paid attention to that voicemail, one, they are putting fear into yourself. Two, they're giving you a phone number to call that 9 out of 10 it's gonna, well, not 9 out of 10, it's gonna be a number to the bad guy that is looking to steal your information. So again, let me repeat this and make it very clear. The IRS will never contact you over the phone without without sending you something in the mail first with a particular notification. So do not give any personal information over the phone. If someone calls you and says they're from the IRS, hang up. That's the best advice. If you get a call like that, please hang up and call the IRS directly yourself. The number to the IRS is 1-800, I'm sorry, 829-1040. Again, the number is 1-800-829-1040. That's the number that you want to call and verify with the IRS and see if in fact it was them calling you. But I tell you what, it probably isn't. It's just somebody looking to harm you. So be very careful. So with that being said, let's take a look at.
Great Day, Washington. This segment is sponsored by Legacy Tax. IRS.
Sorry, you just click the link to the email. I have
Oh,
linked
my
to
apologies.
X out of it and go back to your PowerPoint.
Okay.
Sorry, everyone.
Some people are literally saying 80 to
1 second.
Turn the sound off.
Fresh Start
We're
program.
live, everybody. This is to show you that
yes.
we're live.
Yes.
We are live. Hold on.
Just
hold on.
X that one.
Yep. My apologies. All right.
Thank you.
I try not to, Carrie, but hey, like Eddie said, we are live, so you know this is not a pre-recorded message. All right, so let's take a look at the next at the next tactic that scammers are using, and this is the one that is getting a lot of people to fall for, and this is pretty much you getting text messages through your phone via SMS, or for any of those people that have different messaging apps such as WhatsApp, to name a few. You know, they are taking that approach and looking to do harm by sending you communications via text messages, asking you to contact a phone number or click on the link to provide the information, because guess what? The IRS, it's up to you. It's after you because you owe them a specific amount. So if you want to fix that, click on the link or call the phone number that they provided. So again, it truly be careful if you receive any text messages that are coming in pretending to be from the IRS. Do not open them or call the numbers in these messages. The IRS, if the IRS needs to contact you, they will usually send you something in writing through the United States Postal Services. So again, do not, I repeat, do not click on any of the links or call any of the phone numbers that they list on the messages that you receive. And if you do happen to get something like this, or something similar to what he's saying here, you know, we go back to what we stated at the beginning, and that is report it to the IRS, email them a screenshot or what you received, and send it over to phishing@irs.gov. That's the email that you want to send any communication that you receive from people pretending to be the IRS. So be very careful. And when you do send all this information, make sure to provide the caller ID number, the text message. And again, when you're doing so, be very careful. Do not click on the link when trying to copy and paste, or if taking a screenshot. And if possible, include the exact date and time when from when the message was received. So be very careful once that happens. Next, and this is something that that probably we haven't seen a lot here in the Washington DC area, but you know, we were doing a presentation this morning. We were talking to some of our district employees, and believe it or not, we are in every state. We have presence, we have members in all of the 50 states. So I don't know if anyone out there, but we do have cases where we have people go in and knock on your door and claiming to be the IRS. So scam artists, you know, are, as I mentioned, they are desperate and they're looking for ways to make you fall victim of a tax scam. So this is something that you definitely want to be very careful. And in fact, the IRS recently made a change into their policy for whenever they go and visit and make in-person visits. They are no longer showing unannounced. That is a first. And one of the reasons why they're doing that is for the same specific reason. They want to avoid, you know, people becoming victims of of fake IRS agent coming and knocking into your door or your business. So if that ever happens to you, you know, do not, again, I repeat, do not share any information with them, because this is something that that has been growing and a lot of people are falling victims for. So you may ask yourself, so does the IRS really visit people in person? And the question is, yes, they do. But before it gets to that point, you better believe that you're going to receive multiple forms of communication. You're going to receive official letters from the IRS and explaining as to what's going on. If you never respond, then they can show up to your door. But before they do that, though, as I mentioned, they did make a change recently, and with that change, before any agent can go in and knock on your door, they must send you a form that is called the 725B form, or the letter, I'm sorry, that will be sent to you with plenty of notice, asking you to schedule an in-person meeting. So what that form is doing, what the letter is doing, and again, it is giving you a heads up that the IRS will be visiting your house or your place of business. And again, this is only for those that, that happen to owe taxes. So if you are a normal person, if you are somebody that's a W-2 that always does their taxes, that you are, you get tax every paycheck, the taxes coming out of your check, and you see somebody coming in person and pretending to be from the IRS, you better believe that that person is not legitimate. But let me tell you one thing though. If that ever happens, there are two forms of identification that the IRS gives to all of their employees that they must have with them in order to visit any person. And that is, they use two set of credentials. The first one that they use is a pocket commission. That's a card that they had to carry with them. And the next one is the HSPD-12 card. So those are two forms of identifications or credentials that the IRS has to carry and present to you if they do happen to show up and knock on your door. So if they have that information and you receive the 725-B letter, that means that there's a legitimate visit, and you might be in for a surprise. But if that happens, you already know that you probably owe some taxes to the IRS. So, but if you are just a normal person like me or anyone here in this panel, that you don't owe any taxes and you're up to date, you better believe that that's probably somebody pretending to impersonate the IRS. And if that's the case, contact the police. Do not provide any personal information to that individual. Do not give them any form of payment, because they're there to do harm to yourself. So with that being said, I know we share a lot of information here, and every year the IRS sends out a communication in terms of the scams to look for every single year. So for 2024, what you see here, it's pretty much is what the IRS is telling everyone to keep an eye out, and what they are anticipating to be the most popular scams that they're anticipating during this tax season. The first one is going to be the employee retention credit. So for anyone here, if you own a business, and you have people that you pay for, that you have people on your payroll, the employee retention credit claims, it's going to be the #1 tactic in order to try to get you to open up and give them sensitive information. The other one is the online account help scams. Be very, very careful with that. Also, false fuel tax credit, fake charities, fake nonprofits, fake tax return preparers. I mean, this just, the list goes on and on and on. The social media fraudulent forms, from filing or giving you bad advice, spear phishing and cybersecurity for tax professionals, and offer and compromise meals are to name what the IRS is anticipating that's going to be the most popular scams during this season. And it's actually, believe it or not, this goes in hand with what they saw last year. So again, be very, very careful, always be vigilant, and don't share your personal information just to anyone that calls you, emails you, or sends you a text. Be very, very careful, always be vigilant. That's our advice that we give to everyone here from the credit union. So as I've been stating throughout this presentation, please don't take the bait. Do not do this. Do not click here to see the details about your tax refunds. If you see that, that is probably a link that it's going to take you to a bogus website that all it's doing is stealing your information. Do not believe that they tell you that we're from the Taxpayer Advocate Service and we need some information. No, do not give them any. Do not click to see your tax transcript. If you see any email that is coming through or a text message that is telling you, do you want to see your tax transcript? If so, click over here. Don't do that. Do not take any service, especially if they're pretending to be from the FBI or the IRS. Please don't do that. Or you owe federal student tax. No, we don't need to sign your tax return, even though we're gonna prepare it. This one, I wanna put a lot of emphasis on this, especially because every season we do see you know, criminals setting up tax shops where they pretend to help you file your taxes, and as I mentioned before, they're gonna promise you the highest refund that you have ever received, and then you fall for it, and then they tell you you don't even need to come in person, or you don't need to sign this. We you know what, since you don't sign it, we won't sign it for you either. We just send everything electronically, and that's that. Please, 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 please do not fall for a victim for people pretending to be to run a business that does tax returns. So please be very, very, very careful. What are some of the warning signs again of an IRS scam? If they're the one reaching out to you, if you receive a pre-recorded voicemail, if you receive any threats of any kind, especially as I mentioned before, the number one threat that they use is that they're gonna call the police or the sheriff's office and get you arrested. If anyone says any of that, trust me, they're just looking to insert fear to yourself and make you, make you give them all the information that they're looking for. So please, please, please do not fall for that. So look out for these signs. And also, if you have somebody on the phone and they're asking you to pay for your taxes using a gift card, a wire transfer, or any cryptocurrency, you better believe that that's not the IRS. That's probably somebody overseas sitting on a computer, and that's all they do all day long. They call people, they email people, text people, and they're just looking for somebody to fall for their tactics. So if you're asked to provide any sensitive personal information or financial information, don't. If they give you a form that is not from the IRS website, please do not. And if somebody comes in person and you ask them to show you their HSPD 12 card and they have no idea what that is, then you know what? Close the door and call the police, because they are not legitimate. So again, these are just some of the warning signs to look out for, that will help you stay safe during tax season, and probably not just the tax season, maybe throughout the entire year, because believe it or not, those criminals, they don't take a break. So what are some of the tips that we recommend everyone before you file your taxes? The first one, and this is the one that I encourage everyone to do, is that file your taxes early. Do not wait until April 15, even if you have to pay taxes. Trust me, I'm on that boat. I don't know. I don't know what I had to do, but every time I am sending a check to Uncle Sam, and I know that if the longer I wait, the more I'm thinking about it. So I'd rather, take care of that as soon as possible. So, and this is a tip that we provide, that we do like to give to everyone. So again, and that is that file your taxes early. Don't wait until tax day. Do not wait until April 15. If anyone is reaching out to you, make sure that you do your due diligence. Make sure that you verify their legitimacy. Make sure that it's an actual legit business reaching out to you. If someone is looking to help you with your taxes, never respond to any unsolicited calls, texts, emails, or social media messages. Also, learn the warning signs I'm sorry, of online scammers. And if you do, if you're like me, I have my tax person who has done my taxes for the last 15 years. And he already gave me a heads up that he might be retiring in the next 2 years. So you better believe that whoever I go to, to do my taxes after he retires. I am going to do everything within my powers to make sure that I do enough, vetting process and make sure that whoever I choose to do my taxes after my guy retires, that I will definitely do everything in terms of lookup, research, and everything before I take my business somewhere else with a person that is going to be assisting me with my taxes. And last but not least, consider getting a 6-digit identity protection PIN. This is a digit that a PIN number that you receive from the IRS that is going to help you with your identity whenever you need to access any information online or over the phone. So these are the tips that we would like to share with you. Obviously, you probably, I'm sure for those that the frequent or webinars, you always hear me saying that please protect your personal information. If you browse in the web, make sure that you are using secure websites. Do not go to websites, especially if you don't see the little lock next to the URL, or if the HTTP is missing the S at the end. Do not surf those websites, because 9 out of 10 is probably going to be a bogus website and somebody looking to steal your identity. Also, protect your social security number. Have that in a safe place. Do not carry that number in your wallets. I know a lot of people still carry their social security number in their wallets. Why, you may ask? Don't know. I wish one day we do a study and ask why people carry their social security numbers, but please don't be one of those. Also, update your passwords. Your password, it's recommended that you change your password at least once every 90 days. And that is a great window. If you want to do it sooner than that, please, by all means. But if not, do not go more than 90 days without changing your password. It could help you, and prevent a lot of headaches down the road. Also, if you're browsing the web, make sure that you're using secure Wi-Fi networks. Do not use public networks. And if you do happen to, if you're forced to use a public Wi-Fi, do not, and I repeat, do not access any websites where you store any personal information that can be easily accessed by a criminal using the public Wi-Fi. Also, shred documents. Anything sensitive that you no longer need, shred it. Do not throw it in the trash. Do not do that, because there's people that go out there and all they do every day is they what we call the dumpster dive. They go in through the dumpster and look and search for any personal information that they can find in the trash. So please, if you have any sensitive information, make sure that you shred it. Also, it's very important that you always are keeping track with your accounts. Look for daily transactions. If for those with online banking access, make sure that you're looking and reviewing and keeping track. Make sure that there's nothing there that looks suspicious, and if you do see anything, report it to the authorities right away. Also, enable a two-factor authentication, the 2FA. This is something that most financial institutions, I will say probably 99% of the financial institutions that I'm aware, they provide this feature, and this is an additional layer of security whenever you need to access your online banking accounts, on the web or through your mobile devices. So make sure that you do enable that, the authentication, and also be wary of social media. Please do not share a lot of sensitive information on social media, because believe it or not, there are people out there that's what they use. There's one of the tools that they use is they will go ahead and stalk you on social media, see what you're posting, trying to get personal information and use that information against you, and look to do bad things once they have gathered enough information on your end. Please be very, very careful of social media. I know it's a wonderful tool. It gets us connected with our friends and family, but at the same time, it could also be a bad thing for if you don't use it proper. So be very, 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 very careful. What are some of the signs that you might see that you might probably become a victim of a tax scam? The first one, when you do taxes, they get rejected when you file. So if that happens, that is a clear sign that you probably have become a victim of a tax fraud. If you receive a letter from the IRS with any information that you didn't request, that is probably somebody using your information and claiming to be you and reaching out to the IRS. So if you receive that, please contact the IRS right away. Do not wait. If you receive a W-2 from an employer that you have never worked or you never heard, that's a sign. Also, if you receive a tax refund you didn't file for, if you receive all of a sudden you see a refund hitting your account and you're like, wait a minute, I didn't file for my taxes yet. I'm still waiting for X or Y and Z. That's a sign you're probably a victim. Also, if you receive a transcript in the mail that you didn't request, another red flag. And if you receive a notice on an online account was created or disabled without your consent, that could also point to a sign that you might be a victim of a tax scam. So be very, very, very careful. So what to do if you're targeted by the IRS through the scams from the criminals. So the first thing that you want to do is obviously you want to notify your financial institutions that you are a victim. The next thing is you want to freeze your credit, change your passwords and secure your online accounts. Report the scam to the authorities right away. Do not wait. And obviously monitor all your sensitive information. So keep review your credit reports, see if there's anything that's been opened under your name. Reach out to the different agencies that can help you assist with the with the scam that you have fallen victim for. So again, what we tell everyone, this is the steps that you want to follow. You forward any messages or phone numbers to that email that I mentioned before. I'm going to leave it here, which is the phishing phishing@irs.gov. You want to report that. If you're a victim, you report that to the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration, which is the TIGTA. You definitely want to notify the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, that you become a victim, and contact your state attorney. You definitely want to do that. These are the different agencies that you need to notify if you have become a victim of an IRS scam. And here I'm going to leave you all with additional resources as well that can help you, stay alert and help you with give you more tools, more information. Definitely the IRS website, that is definitely a number one that I'd recommend everyone to keep handy, especially because you can find phone numbers there to contact them. You can see the type of forms that you need to file. So if you do see a form that you never seen on the IRS website and somebody's asking you to fill out, please don't do it. Also, the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, it's a great tool. The IRS Free File Program, the Local Volunteer Income Tax Assistant, or the VITA program, Tax Consultant for the elderly, the TCE program. It's also a great resource. State tax agencies, please check them out. And also the IRS Taxpayers Advocate Services and any tax professional assistant that you have used in the past. I mean, make sure that you go to them for additional resources. But with that being said, this is going to bring me to the end of my presentation. I really hope that this has been helpful. I'm going to leave this slide here that has the information where you want to reach out should you be receiving any information pretending to be from the IRS and such. So with that being said, amazing panel team. I'm going to bring it back to you all. So again, thank you all. I really hope that this was helpful.
Thank you very much, Milton. Amazing presentation, great information. As we can see, scammers are getting very, very sneaky. They're trying to attack us because everybody's vulnerable through either our, credit scores or, identity theft, and now even the tax scam, especially right now that is tax season. So thank you very much for sharing all that information, those tools that we can use to prevent all of this from happening. And before we go to the questions, I just wanted to give A special shout out to Mr. Gottman. We're so glad that you're here this evening with us. You were part of our podcast, our chapter 9 of season 1. It's all about compassion. So, that was one of our most viewed podcasts. We're so happy that you're here with us. Thank you, Mr. Gottman, for being here with us. But with that being said, Andrea, do you see any questions on your end?
Yes. So the first one we got is I got an email today from USFCU saying that I have a new credit score. However, when I go on into my online account, I cannot find anything to click on to see my credit score. Is that email legitimate?
Kim, Kim was asking me that. I did not see that in the chat. So yes, that is legitimate. I don't know if you could see my screen, but I'm a member, as I've told you all, of the credit union. And so because I've used the FICO score simulator in online banking before, it'll send me that, hey, your score's been updated every month, just like I get the notifications for my e-statement. So when you click on it and log in, you'll just hit the Experian button, the Experian link in the side navigation bar, and that's where you would see it. Does that make sense? I tried to show you the email, but see how it blinks out my screen? But that's legit, bottom line. Yes, sorry.
It made all the sense in the world, Carrie. We understood what you meant. So thank you very much for sharing that, Carrie. And like she was saying, that's legitimate. We always want to make sure that our members, stay up to date with their credit. And that's one of the preventional steps that you can take is check your credit often. So that way you can see that everything is in order. There's no new loans that you haven't applied for or any, credits that you might not, be familiar with. And Carrie, remind us, how often can we check our credit nowadays?
Thank you for asking. I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but now you can access your credit report once a week through annualcreditreport.com.
Once a week, everybody. So you can, do your due diligence. As the member, we always emphasize this as well. As the member, do your due diligence, check your credit. If an email looks a little bit, sketchy, or a text message, or even the call that, we were sharing, it's a little bit that, raises red flags. Just make sure you do your due diligence. Call us directly. Like, for example, the question about the credit was very good, because that's a great example that we always send in information, but please make sure that it's legitimate. Any other questions, Andrea?
Yes. Is the identity protection PIN given by an ID notified trusted ID?
The answer to the question is going to be yes. But what you want to do is obviously you want to go to the IRS website first and search. You can just search for PIN number. And again, it's going to be a 6-digit code that's going to help you pretty much identifies your information, identifies who you are. So whenever you're doing taxes and all of that, you're going to be given the 6-digit unique code there's going to be given to you with the ID Me. I'm not sure if that's hold on, let me take a look and see the question.
Well, Milton, while you do that, I did put a link in the chat to learn more and sign on the IRS's webpage about the 6-digit PINs from the IRS and signing up for one.
Yeah, go ahead and post it. But yeah, it is through the ID Me. It's a federal program that is connected to the IRS. That's going to help you protect your information whenever you're accessing the IRS and doing your taxes. Obviously, most important. But yes, but then in order to enroll for it, please go to the IRS website first. Start the process there. Do not click on any Google searches and then click on a website that you might think is from the IRS. That's a big no-no. If you do want to access the PIN, get one PIN number issued to you, please do so by going directly to the IRS website first and follow the instructions. And they will send you. They're gonna. It's a step-by-step. I done it myself, and it's pretty easy to do. So that. I'll leave that at that.
And then I know we don't like Uncle Sam going through our pockets, but at the same time, he makes sure that we're safe, So it's a win and lose, but it's one of those things that, the resources right there, It's just a matter of using them. And that's the reason why we have these type of presentations to educate our members so they know that if, before that scam happens or even after it happens, there's always a solution for you. So if you have any questions, please contact us. And then, as you know, if you want to talk to our beautiful Kim Fridley, option 7 will be the best way to contact her as well. And then I appreciate the tips that Mr. Ken was saying, that local police is asking people to come forward with any active scams that they have seen, so don't be afraid. If you think like, oh, I should have never clicked on that, or what is people going to think, please come forward. So that way the authorities know what they're dealing with and they can create new strategies, to prevent all these scams to happen. Also, Alex shared a great testimony. She was saying that when she came to the United States 12 years ago, she got a call, quote, quote, call from the IRS that sounded very legitimate, but in reality was a scam. But she was able to do her due diligence and she was able to avoid that. So, Alex, thank you very much for sharing that with us. Andrea?
Yes, we have Mr. Ken is asking if you could post the email address and the website to check your credit.
Annualcreditreport.com.
Yeah, so annualcreditreport.com is the one that now you get free weekly access, and I'm about to post the one in the chat to the thing that I was talking about that triggered that email, the FICO score simulator and online banking.
While Kerry is doing that, I believe Mr. Juan would like to come off mute. So Mr. Juan, if you want to share some of your wisdom, please, this is the time to do so.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I hope, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Loud and
perfect.
clear.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you again for your presentation, Milton. You did a lot of research on this because there were a lot of things that I thought I knew and I didn't learn until now. So one thing that I do for my own purpose of remembering things is I take screenshots with my phone because I may not be able to remember these things. And then I'll create a folder in my iPhone and I'll say, this is where, and I'll call it tax info. And I'll be able to find these names that you just did right now. So that's a quick tip to people, because it's like, we'll see this presentation, how many of us will remember? But if you take a picture with your phone and create a little folder and you'll be able to find these names quickly. So that's what I would suggest. Again, I didn't even know those ID things that you were mentioning about. I would like to pass off an experience of a coworker of mine that happened 2 years ago. So this is just an example for those listening out there. She used a tax accountant, and unfortunately her tax accountant's server was hacked. So that person got a lot of information and they filed tax returns. So my coworker told me that her accountant told her that her information was compromised. When she tried to turn her tax return, it already said you'd already filed one. So immediately, like you were mentioning earlier, Milton, she had to go get a 6-digit PIN. So going forward now, she uses a 6-digit PIN. And, like anything else, I don't know if her tax accountant probably hired a professional to come in to clean out the machine, make sure there was no more malware or anything on there. But so that is one thing that people have to be aware of, is sometimes it's not you, it's your tax accountant server that got hacked, and they need to be fiduciary with you, explain what happened so you can take the appropriate action. Another thing that I do with my tax account, for example, I've been using one for almost 35 years, and now her daughter's taking over the business, but I've been working with her for the last 2-3 years. And the things that I used to do was, probably 5 years ago, I used to fax all my 100 pages to her, and it probably drove her crazy, but I said, I don't believe in sending things through the mail because things get lost. With at least a fax line, at least it's hard to transcribe your information going across. So finally, what she did about 2 years ago was she went and got a secure, what do you call it, website. It's called eFile something. I've reversed the name that came of it. So it's secure where I can upload my documents to her server, which encrypts it with a 6-digit code as well too. So even if somebody got it, they still have to figure out the code. It's a little bit harder to get through, but it's better than using a fax machine, because obviously the fax machine would run out of paper, and she'd joke with me and say, I didn't get the whole thing. And I said, well, I number every page, so you can tell me what pages you still need that you're gonna get. So I'll finish faxing it the next day through to you. But she's been doing it, and I've been encrypting all my stuff in Adobe with a 6-digit code also too. So when she gets my documents, she still has to decode my files in Adobe. So for those who have Adobe, you can encrypt your files even if you're uploading it. So that's just a way to protect your information as well. So hopefully that's helpful for some of you. You're able to ask your accountant, find out if they have a secure email server and things like that, because don't send it to regular mail. Regular mail is not secure. Even if it's Gmail or whatever, don't trust it because someone can still hack into your mail. So if they have a service, your accountant, go by all means. Obviously, if you have your accountant, you can go in person, then that's even better because you're not transmitting anything. So those are some additional tips that hopefully people can use. The other thing too, like today, for example, you guys had mentioned a little bit about freezing your credit. So I use all three. I freeze them when I don't need them and unfreeze them as I do it. They're out of the three, TransUnion, and I believe there's two of them that almost sound the same, like Equifax and Equitrans. And I commented to one of them today. I said, your front dashboard page doesn't make it easy for people to unfreeze. And the ladies, you're the first person to complain. I said, because it should be there so people can easily go into your account, lock and unlock, or put a temporary freeze on. So they're going to take my suggestion, put it on the front page, because otherwise you have to go and navigate through helpful links, which is at the very bottom of the page, Equitrans. Then from there, manage your freezes. And I said, it's just ridiculous that you don't have it on the dashboard like the other two credit bureaus. So always try to freeze it when you don't need it and unfreeze it if you have to for a temporary time period, if you have to do things. So that's just like another little tip that I use for my own purpose. I freeze it when I don't need it and unfreeze it when I need to apply for credit.
That's all.
Those kind of things. So I thought I had something else here, but those are, oh, and obviously like anything else, if your computer's been compromised because you clicked on malware, always use some sort of virus cleaner, make sure your machine is clean before you use it any further, or otherwise you could be potentially still passing on information to other people, because hackers can record your keystrokes and learn a lot of stuff. So always make sure that your AVs are all up to date as well too, because those are the kind of things where people can feed off your information that you're transmitting back and forth. So I think those were my only few tips today. Hopefully they were a little helpful to some of you out there.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Juan. As always, for those that don't know Mr. Juan, he's actually he's an IT expert, and he often shares a lot of great information with us. But definitely, he had a lot of great points there, especially with the encryption of documents. Anytime you're sending anything that has any personal identification information, please make sure that you encrypt those emails. You know, as Mr. Juan alluded to, you know, your Gmail, your what's the Microsoft? Well, Microsoft, I know before it used to be Hotmail, but there's so many different email accounts out there that those emails are not encrypted and they're not secure. So unless you actually take an additional step and encrypt any communications that you sent, that information that you are transmitting through your normal email could be taken by the bad guys. So you definitely don't want to do that. So Mr. Juan, again, thank you so much for your valuable insight. We truly appreciate it. Guys, do we have any more questions in the Q&A or the chat? I know we're coming 3 minutes over the past or time here, but as we mentioned at the beginning, it's stated, and it's just a staple that we answer every question before we let everyone go. So go ahead, panel. Any more questions?
Yes. Have you seen any scams that incorporate the TurboTax logo in the scam?
I have actually heard about that. I can't tell the details right now because off the top of my head, but since we promote, like we have a partnership with Love My Credit Union. So right now our members, one of the offers is members are getting a discount or on TurboTax filing and whatnot. And that's what made the other thing stand out to me. And I keep meaning to look it up and see what that's all about, because in my head, I'm like, oh, you know, correlating the two things, like, oh, our members are going to think this, you know, but this is legit. So I know that is a valid scam. We are sending information out on TurboTax discounts. That is not a thing, but so there is. So yeah.
Our discount is about like 20%, I think.
Yeah, and you would go through Love My Credit Union for that, and there'd be a code. But in this this scam could be something totally different. Like I know that people are saying like H&R Black is under ridicule for pressuring like there are people pressuring taxpayers to whatever. And then I know there's another one about sorry, I lost where I was going with this, but they're all over basically. So yes, I've heard of that one. Has anyone else?
This is
And
the
that's-
first hearing of it, and that makes me
Oh,
nervous.
ghost tax preparers. I just hear a lot of scrutiny this year about be careful and scams targeting the tax preparer too. So yes, I wouldn't be surprised.
And to emphasize what you both are saying, Mr. Mears made a great comment saying that as a former professional tax preparer, he has seen all the nightmares that people go through when these scams happen. And sometimes usually takes years to reconcile these issues. That's the reason why we want to make sure that you're aware, especially with tax season. Make sure you keep your eyes open. You set up those alerts. You always checking your credit. And then make sure that when you're doing your taxes, like Milton was saying, he got his person that he goes to, make sure you do your due diligence that is legitimate. Because it's easy to get into that issue, but to get out of it, it could take years, So we want to make sure that all of our members have that peace of mind that the United States and the Federal Credit Union's security is our priority. We want to make sure we prevent all those things from happening. I know there's another question, Andrea.
Hold on, let me double check. I don't see any.
There was another question.
It came from Mr. Ball.
Yes.
I don't.
Go ahead, Eddie, if you have it. How do
He
I?
says, all right, perfect.
How
So
do you-
everybody on the panel is who's the brave soul. How do you feel about having your tax information sent to India for processing? My previous accountant does that, and I thought it was a security risk, and I left that firm. So how do you feel about that tax preparer sending these forms or your information to another country?
I can go on that. And again, I don't want to. It's kind of hard to answer that question, but I will definitely take the advice that Mr. Wong gave us today, which is if you are going to share any information, make sure that you do send it through an encrypted platform. And on top of that, make sure if you use Adobe, put a PIN number as an additional layer of security, just to be safe. Again, you definitely want to know that you might want to ask more questions as to what type of servers are using, what's the platform, is it a cloud-based service? Truly, my opinion, I would be a little bit on the fence if I was in your position. But again, if you do take additional layers of security and precaution on your end and sending everything through encrypted emails and add in a passcode as the second layer of security, then I'll probably do it. But if not, I'll be very hesitant. But again, I know that different businesses and different accountants, they use different softwares, they use different tools, and so I don't want to single out or call out any business that practice that. But me personally, again, I will only do it if I'm using additional layers of security, and that will be my input on that.
Thank you very much. Like Mr. Mears made another comment saying, be careful who you send your W-2s to. So like you're saying, different companies using different softwares. So just do your due diligence, make sure you feel confident about who's preparing your taxes. And if you're feeling that music this evening, they sent us a music suggestion, which is the Beatles Taxman. So if you're feeling the music and the tax season, make sure you listen to that this evening. So I don't see any other questions. Does anybody see anything else on the chat that they would like to highlight? But it has been a great session. Great questions, everybody. Thank you very much for the engagement. And I think, I don't think I'm the only one. I think in the panelists, you can share this feeling that we all learned something new today. Mr. Wong, thank you as well for sharing your wisdom with us. Those great tips that you were mentioning. And then like we're saying, just be alert. You know, it could be a colleague that's getting, you know, scammed. It could be you. But if you, you know, practice these safety steps, you can prevent all of this from happening. Panelists, any other comments before we head out?
No, thank you so much for joining tonight.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see everybody here.
Yeah.
Yes, and before we go, don't forget, please come back and see us next Wednesday. We promise we'll be here. We have the entire team on a bunch of vitamin C and boosts and everything. Anything you can think of. We're trying to stay healthy for you all. But don't forget, March, it's actually National Credit Education Month. So what a better way to talk about credit. So mastering your credit, that's the presentation for next Wednesday. So please spread the word. And again, as Eddie alluded to, thank you. We wouldn't do this without every single person, every single one of you that comes and attends the webinars. And most important, our goal is that we share information that is helpful to you and your loved ones. So again, you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you back again next Wednesday at the same time and on the same channel, right, Eddie? Is that what we said?
That's right. So look out for us next week. Have a great evening and have a good night, everybody.